Hey guys, Sakitech from sakitech, and in today's video what we're going to do is we are going to be comparing the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra to the brand new iPad Pro M4 model. Now this one here is a 13-inch model. This one right here is a 14.6-inch model. So they are in fact the largest offerings from both Samsung and Apple. And in this video we're going to do a deep dive and compare every aspect of these tablets to see which one is going to be a better option for you. So the first thing I want to talk about is going to be the price. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra starts at $1,200. That is for 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. The iPad Pro 13-inch model starts at $1,300. That is also for 256 gigabytes of storage, and that's going to be for 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the price is that Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra is going to come with the S Pen out of the box. Okay, so if you want to take notes with your tablet in the price of $1,200, the S Pen is included for note-taking, sketching, and all that good stuff. With the iPad Pro, you're going to have to spend an additional $129 for the Apple Pencil Pro. So certainly there's some more value in the lower price of the Tab S9 Ultra. And as you go up to get more storage, the iPad gets more and more expensive. For example, the 1 terabyte iPad model is going to be $1,900 without the Apple Pencil. The 1 terabyte model of the S9 Ultra is going to be $1,619 with the S Pen included. So iPad Pro is going to be the more expensive product overall. Alright, so let's dive in and talk about the design of both of these products. Now, on the Tab S9 Ultra, there's one thing I don't like, and that's the notch right over here. You can see we do have a little notch that houses the cameras, but we don't have a notch on the iPad. It is all symmetrical. However, having the notch also allows us to have slimmer bezels on the Tab S9 Ultra, as you can see. So that is just a frontal design, and you can see the cameras on both of these guys are in the middle in the landscape orientation. That is new for the iPad Pro. Now, when it comes to the rest of the build quality, you can see these things are almost identical. They're both machined perfectly. The color is almost the same. You can see the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra has 2 cameras. The iPad is going to have 1 camera. It's not going to have the ultra wide camera anymore. It's just a standard wide angle. And you can see they both have flashes on the rear for the cameras. Now on the top, you can see the iPad Pro. On the bottom is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. The iPad Pro is supposedly thinner, but you can see they're very, very similar. But the iPad Pro is 5.1 millimeters. The Tab S9 Ultra is 5.5 millimeters. You can see they both have USB Type-C ports, and they both have dual speakers at the bottom and the top, so they both have quad speakers. Let's do a quick speaker quality comparison by having you guys listen to the same song on both. Alright, so let's give you a quick sample of the sound. So first I'm going to play on this one. It's the same track on both of these guys. Now I'm going to do the iPad Pro. So to me, it looked like the Tab S9 Ultra was louder, but I also felt like the iPad Pro was a little bit richer. But I could be wrong. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Alright, so let's talk about the displays. iPad has now updated the displays. It is an OLED display. So we have OLED displays on both of these products. However, the iPad has a tandem OLED that makes it brighter than the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra with a nuance I'm going to show you in a minute. Now first, let's do the max brightness. So I'm going to go max and max. And you may not be able to see it on the video, but I can see it clearly that the iPad in this instance is brighter. We have a peak brightness of 1000 nits for XDR content and 1600 nits for HDR content. The Tab S9 Ultra tops at 1000 nits of brightness for HDR. However, let me show you something very interesting. You can see the brightness is maxed out on both. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to actually play a video. Now, this is going to be the video playback, and you can see right now, for some reason, they're equally bright at maximum brightness. So let me play both videos and sample the whole thing really quickly. All right, so video is playing. Now, one thing I'm going to quickly observe is that the aspect ratio of the Tab S9 Ultra is much better. You get to see more. Of course, it's a larger screen, so media consumption is going to be better. Also, again, when it comes to video consumption, they're equally bright, as you can see for some reason, even though the iPad is supposed to be brighter. However, when I look at these displays very carefully with microscopic eyes, I can tell you that the quality on the iPad Pro is just slightly better. Nothing dramatic, but now the iPad has updated their displays to OLED, and it's a much better display with deeper blacks and brighter whites and better contrast overall. But if I was watching any one of these, I'd be perfectly satisfied, as you can see. I do believe iPad is going to perform better in daytime conditions when you're doing work and stuff like that, because it does have a brighter display overall. But when it comes to video, it doesn't show that for some reason. But regardless, I do think both these displays are superior displays. Now, one more thing to look at, you can see that the anti-reflective properties on the iPad are better. That is the same light. It's right over here, and it is looking right over here. You can see it is less shiny over here as opposed to this one. Okay, so it is going to be slightly better, the iPad, when it comes to anti-reflection. I've also noticed that the viewing angles on the iPad are better, meaning when I'm looking at them from side by side here, on this screen, there's less degradation compared to this one. This one is a little reddish now. This is still bright and white. If I walk over to this side, you can see. All right, so when I go like this, there's more degradation on the Tab S9 Ultra versus the iPad. So I do believe the iPad is now a higher quality display. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is going to be performance. Now, I did run a couple of benchmarks. This one here is Geekbench. I'm going to use this as a baseline. You can see the difference, guys. Single core on the Tab S9 Ultra, 2137. Multi-core, 5709. This is Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And we have the M4 chip. That is 3641 on the single core and 12,591 on the multi-core. We're looking at approximately 50% better performance on the iPad. So that is crazy. The iPad, when it comes to CPU, when it comes to graphic, it is just going to be much faster. Now, the question is, do you need all that power? Because most of the time, Tab S9 Ultra can do everything the iPad can do. However, the iPad is going to be better and faster for video editing, photo editing, if you want to use those tools as a professional. Also, iPad is going to be better at gaming. Let me show you what I'm talking about so at least you have an idea. So I lowered the lights a little bit and I connected an Xbox controller to the iPad. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to launch the Resident Evil 4 game and look at how nice it's going to look. Okay, so I'm going to start the game, new game. I'm going to say standard, assisted, whatever. I just want you guys to see the graphics. It is loading up. This is going to be a console quality graphical settings. It's not as smooth as the console, but it is still, the fact that it's doable is crazy. So let me just skip the cinematics. All right, so I killed one light, so I want you guys to see the whole thing very carefully. So look at this. I'm playing with the controller. This looks amazing. This is Resident Evil 4, the remake. So you cannot have this quality of game playing on the Tab S9 Ultra. All the Android games and all the mobile games are going to be playable on both. But a game like this, a Resident Evil 4 that was specially ported to run on the iPad and the iPhone with the latest chips, this is just crazy. If this is something you're looking for on the iPad, that's the route you want to go. But remember, it's not like every game is available. Some games are ported, some games are not ported. So it's not like you have a huge selection, but this is an option you have on the iPad Pro, okay? And also on the iPhones, but with the iPad Pro it makes sense because the screen display is actually larger, so that's great. Now that being said, I'm not going to buy an iPad Pro to play games. So gaming for games like Resident Evil 4 may not even be relevant. Alright, so both of these products support the Apple Pencil. Let's take a look at it real quick. So this is the Apple Pencil Pro. This is the $129 Apple Pencil you have to buy, addition to the price of the iPad. But it is in fact a very good. So if I tap right over here, it brings up my little control panel. This is just a notes application. Just want to give you guys an example of how nicely it writes, so I can, pick the size and everything. Let's make it small. So let's see. Super smooth, super responsive, and there is basically, it feels like there's no lag. And you have the squeeze functionality. When you squeeze it, you get access to these options right here. So I can go to the eraser, I can go to the pen, I can tap over here to change the color of the pen, as you can see, and I can tap over here to get some more options. But basically, we have that squeeze functionality. I just made it thicker, so look at this. Yeah, the writing on this thing feels amazing. There's no question about that. So sketching writing is going to be precise, and it's going to be high quality. Alright, so it's going to be the same story with the S Pen on the Tab S9 Ultra. Here's my S Pen, here's Samsung Notes. I can tap on here to the pencil symbol, and I have all these various options. And you can see that I can pick different sizes and different colors, just like the Apple Pencil on the iPad. And writing is, again, super smooth and super responsive. And it's highly precise. Let's try another one over here. Here's the pencil. Make it a little bit thicker, different color. Okay, let's write that down. That is beautiful. Both of these pens are amazing for note-taking and sketching. However, the S Pen does have some additional functionality. Let me go home here. So I can tap on the Air Command icon or press the button. We have a button here, and it's going to bring the Air Command options. They are fully customizable. I can even add app shortcuts here, or I can go to the settings. I can use the S Pen as a remote control to control my tablet. So what I can do is I can do presentations. I can control the camera from a distance with this guy. I can do presentations, play, pause, music, all with the S Pen with the built-in button right here. It is a Bluetooth S Pen, so it is connected to the tablet via Bluetooth to make remote control functionality available. So I do believe it's slightly more functional, and also, again, it is free with the purchase of the Tab S9 Ultra. So as an example, here's the gallery. Look at this. I can press this button. I can do this across the room, by the way, because it's Bluetooth, and I can go to the next slide, go back, next photo, slide or photo, doesn't matter. So you can do presentations or just show off your photos, and you can do it remotely. So you don't have to pay extra $100+ for it. Now, one more thing I want to talk about is if you are a real artist, the Apple's App Store is going to offer more apps for the pros. For example, the Procreate application here is not available for the Tab S9 Ultra. And also the art apps designed for iPad are specifically designed for the iPad. So I do believe if you are a real artist looking for professional tools, you might be better off with the iPad. But again, you can do the same thing with the iPad Air as well. So you don't have to go with the Pro route because it is very expensive. I still do believe that the M4 is slightly overkill for something like the iPad. Now, when it comes to the battery life, both of these products have amazing battery life. There's no question about that. For basic use, including watching movies, browsing, research, taking notes, they're gonna last you a full day, no problem. If you start doing some heavy duty work, the battery's gonna die sooner. But also when you do lean towards the heavy duty work, the iPad actually gives you slightly longer battery life. So for basic stuff, it's similar, but for slightly more heavy duty stuff like editing a video or photo, the iPad yields a little bit more battery life. Maybe around 1.5 hours extra. But regardless, both of these products have rock solid battery life. Now, one thing I want to mention is when you have these tablets on idle, meaning it's just sitting on your table, the battery drain on the iPad a little bit faster than the Tab S9 Ultra. So the Tab S9 Ultra can sit there with minimum battery drain versus the iPad that is going to drain just a little bit more for some reason. So which one should you buy? Which one is better? That's a very hard question to answer. The Tab S9 Ultra is less expensive, comes with the S Pen included. S Pen is more functional than Apple Pencil Pro. It is also the more customizable and feature-rich product. It does have a high-end build quality, a gorgeous display, and great speakers. The iPad also has a gorgeous display and amazing speakers, and significantly more processing and graphical power, as well as a powerful app ecosystem where you get more apps optimized specifically for the iPad. It is, however, much more expensive, especially if you want the Apple Pencil Pro to go with it, or if you get a 2TB model, you're looking at close to $2,000. The Tab S9 Ultra pricing tops out at $1,619. That includes the S Pen and micro SD expansion option if more storage is needed. I would say if you want a tablet with a large screen and to take notes or sketching, Tab S9 Ultra might be a better option because it is more affordable. Now, if you are a real professional with demanding workflow, you're somebody that knows exactly what they're doing, then you might want to go with the iPad. If you're just an average consumer and just want to go with the iPad because you're already part of the Apple ecosystem, you should consider the cheaper iPad Air or even the regular iPad. So as you can see, it's a choice that is going to be based on your custom needs and budget. I can tell you though, both of these are rock solid products. So that's the end of the video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below. Let me know. For now, guys, have a fantastic day.